G'day, Jim Harnwell here. I'm at the 2010 AFTA Fishing Tackle Show up in the Gold Coast. We've got a very special guest here, Senator Richard Colbeck, the Liberal Senator for Tasmania. Just gave a speech to the tackle industry, outlined the Coalition's plans for the fishing industry. Senator, if Labor gets in at the next election, will that mean that Australian fishermen will be restricted from fishing around the country?
Oh, look, there's certainly a distinct chance that there'll be severe restrictions from the decisions that they'll make as part of their marine planning process. And what we're looking to do is put a fair process in place that gives the fishers a seat at the table and access to the science so that we can make some sensible decisions.
Do you think that the deal that the Labor government has done with the Greens, if the Labor government gets back in again, will that deal give the Greens more bargaining power to impose their ideology on Australian fishermen?
The Greens never do a deal without extracting a pound of flesh. That's just their nature. So, although we don't know what the deal's about or what's behind it, we certainly know that they'll be wanting a quid pro quo out of the arrangement that they've made with the Labor Party for preferences at the election next Saturday.
If an Abbott government is formed next Saturday and you're the new Fisheries Minister, what can you promise Australian recreational fishermen under your leadership?
Well, the commitment that I've just made to those that are here today is that we'll put the process on hold, the marine bioregional planning process on hold.
When you say on hold, Senator, for how long? And I mean, does that on hold mean that it's stopped forever, or is it something you're going to consider again, and maybe in another 4 or 5 years you look at, or what's the go? What does on hold mean?
We'll put it on hold. We'll restructure it. We'll set up bioregional panels that have representatives from the fishing sector sitting on the panels. We'll make all the science available, and we'll make our decisions based on the science, not based on philosophy. So we'll have some sensible decisions with genuine input and genuine consultation with the industry.
So under an Abbott government, there still could be areas in Australia that are restricted to fishing, but those areas would only be restricted to fishing because of science that was unassailable. There was no doubt about the science needed to cause that closure.
We want to make our decisions based on science, not based on philosophy, and we're prepared to put the science on the table, give everyone the opportunity to consider that and make our decisions collectively based on that science.
Well, thank you very much, Senator Colbeck. It's going to be a very interesting election. Do you have any ideas on the outcome of the election next week?
Well, no, I don't. I think it's going to be really tight. All the polls say that it's going to be very, very tight. And I think one of the issues that could very well swing this election is what's happening within the fishing sector. I know how upset people are about the impact or the potential impact on their lifestyle. They're not happy at all, and I think that this could very well be one of the factors that decides the election.
It's interesting you say that, because a lot of the polling suggesting that this election could actually be decided by marginal seats. A lot of those seats are coastal type seats. Obviously there's a strong fishing vote within those sort of things. Do you think this actually could be a really good thing for the recreational fishing industry, because it'll finally make fishing front and foremost in the political landscape?
Well, I've just seen an example of the passion that exists around this issue, with people being prepared to put their money on the line to be part of the campaign. It's something that you don't see very often. It demonstrates the passion, and it certainly indicates to me that the recreational fishing sector is one that should not be ignored.
I understand that the Federal Fisheries Minister, Tony Burke, was invited to appear at the AFTA Tackle Show here, which is the Australian fishing tackle industry's big event in the year. He declined that invitation. Do you think that indicates that the Gillard Labor government doesn't really have much regard for the fishing industry?
Look, I don't think they actually understand what's going on out there. I don't think they have any concept of how passionate people are about their recreation. I don't think they've had a good hard look at it. Hopefully this will make them sit up and take notice. Hopefully, from my perspective, it will help to change the government, and I'll get the opportunity to implement some common sense policies on behalf of the sector.
When you were giving your speech earlier this evening, you were saying that any decisions that are going to be made about fishing in the future will be a joint decision between the Environment Minister, under the Abbott government, the Environment Minister, and yourself as the Fisheries Minister if you're elected. Do you think that the current concern amongst a lot of recreational fishermen with the Gillard government is because there's not a lot of dialogue between Tony Burke as the Fisheries Minister, Peter Garrett as the Environment Minister.
Look, my feeling is that the fishing sector, the recreational fishing sector and the commercial fishing sector for that matter, don't believe that they've got anybody in government on their side. And I think that's what's really disappointed them and what's really upset them. I don't think Minister Burke has engaged to the extent that he should have with the commercial or the recreational fishing sector. And part of his job as Minister for Agriculture, Fisheries and Forestry is to look after the interests of those sectors as a minister. That's the thing that I would hope to get the opportunity to do if we're elected next Saturday. I'm hoping that Tony will give me that job if we're elected. And I think that's been a real failure on behalf of the government.
Just say that next Saturday there is an Abbott government elected, but that the Greens are given the balance of power in the Senate. How would your government work with the Greens to stop them from instigating their fairly extremist views on recreational fishing?
Well, the government comes in with a mandate. We would expect some respect for that mandate. We'll certainly work with all of the parties in the Parliament, both in the House of Representatives and the Senate, to achieve our objectives. And we'd hope that if not the Greens, the Labor Party would be prepared to support what we're putting forward. We would hope that they've learnt the lessons, if that's in fact the case.
Senator Colbeck, thanks for your time.
My pleasure.